I come to the floor. I've been listening for the better part of well over an hour to my colleagues talk about the vote that we had a little earlier and why it didn't pass and why, from their perspective, it should have. Let me start off that there is a sense of urgency, but there's also a sense of getting it right and getting our priorities right. The wealth of the nation will only improve when the health of the nation improves. And this package, as presently designed, falls far short of what is necessary to make the health of the nation whole. We need a surge at the end of the day to ensure that, in fact, we can have the front lines, the hospitals, the medical workers, the nurses, all of those be able to achieve the most fundamental goal, which is to make the American people safe from this virus. This, in the first and foremost instance, is a fight against COVID-19. First and foremost. Because if we do not get the health of the nation right, we will not get the wealth of the nation right, no matter how much money we spend. So there's a lot of talk here about markets. I heard for the better half of the last plus hour about markets, and yes, the markets are important. I don't underestimate that. But what's really important is the health of the American people. Because when they are healthy, we will prosper. But when they are not, we will not prosper. When we meet the challenge of the pandemic, we will prosper. When we don't meet the challenge of the pandemic, we will not prosper. Very simple. Very simple. So first and foremost, this is about having a robust figure for the hospital and health frontline workers. This package, as it presently is devised, fails to do so. Secondly, this is about making sure that not just big corporations get the monies that they need, but that average working families and individuals get the robust assistance that they need to get through this period of time. And you know, when you have a $425 billion fund that has total discretion of the Secretary of the Treasury, no guardrails, no guarantees for workers, no guarantees that despite how much money we spend and give to large corporate entities, that they will not guarantee the well-being of workers, then something's wrong. I was here. I've been through September 11th. I've been through Superstorm Sandy in New Jersey and the Northeast. I've never seen anything like this. But I also remember after the Great Recession, the errors we made on the TARP and other related programs. In our desire to overwhelmingly respond, which we still have that desire today, there were great mistakes made. How many times are we going to get a shot at a $1 trillion+ program? How many times? So we need to not only have a sense of urgency, we need to get it right in order to affect the well-being of the American people in their health, in their economic well-being, and in the future economic well-being of the nation. So this rush in a way that doesn't get it right is dangerous. Because I don't know how many $1 trillion+ packages we're going to have. And then, when I look at the language in this present legislation, my God, it's shameful. Shameful. That in the midst of a pandemic, the ideological views are seeking to be incorporated in a way that has nothing to do with dealing with COVID-19. Nothing. the denial of certain health groups of being able to access at a critical time in our country, nothing to do with COVID-19. A $425 billion slush fund that basically the Secretary of the Treasury can say, I like you, you get this, I don't like you, you get nothing. There's no transparency, no way for the Congress to know. 6 months after you give a loan is when we might finally find out. That's unacceptable. We have to know that when we're making these investments, that they protect workers. That we're not going to have all this money in part be used for stock buybacks. That we're not going to see corporate executives have big increases in their salaries and benefits. That's not what the American people's taxpayer money is for. That's why there were votes against proceeding, because we have to get it right. We have to get it right. How is it that there are no provisions in the present bill in foreclosures, in evictions? People are going to face unprecedented consequences, not because of their own making, not of moral hazard. They're fired. They're left without any money. Are we going to evict them from their homes? Does that serve the public health in the midst of a pandemic? No. There are no consequences for that. How is it that we have no parameters of how the Treasury would structure loans? How is it that we have no worker protections to ensure that the very essence of why we want companies to be able to sustain themselves, and we do, both small, medium, and big. We want them to sustain themselves, but we want them to sustain themselves for what? To be able to keep workers employed, to be able to keep the economy going, not to improve simply the bottom line.